Okay, so I've been coaching for years. I've coached thousands of students, looked over thousands of pros gameplay, coached everyone from pro players to real life footballers to even just a casual player. The question I always get asked is, what is the real way to get to the elite division? What's the best tactical layout? There's a reason why this video that you might have seen, I uploaded this some time ago, but you can see this is the best tactic setup of the year. Because they nerfed the 3-5-2, we've got rid of that. But the rest of them, they stay the same. Now, why do they stay the same? Because they are the best tactics inside the game. Every pro player uses a 4-3-2-1 and a 4-3-2-1 and a 4-2-3-1. Those are two formations that every single pro plays. Why? Because this is the best formation inside the game. This has been now adjusted post-patch. I know there's been some nerfs and cutbacks, but they are still the same effectiveness. But this has been changed a little bit. I'll explain to you what will be changed as well and what changes we're going to make. And a 4-2-3-1. It's always the best formations inside the game. Now, if you're watching this video and you want the harsh truth, let's say you don't want me to sugarcoat things or give you some fairy tale or start screaming like a 15-year-old kid, because that's not what you're probably here for. These tactics will get you to Elite Division. If you don't get to Elite Division because of the tactics, I can assure you it's your gameplay. This 4-3-3, the only reason why I introduced, now as I said to you in the video before, I used when the game came out, obviously because of my level, I never needed to use it that much. But I brought it back, I released it on my Patreon in the first week, people were using it and they found good help. And the reason why we brought this formation in, is people who struggle against pressure and closing a game out, this is the best formation for you to use. It's basically a 4-2-3-1, except for you don't have a cam, you have a centre mid, you have two CDMs, and it makes it more defensive as a whole. Because they've nerfed, so if you go back to this video, for example, here, this is the 3-5-2, right? Because they ended up nerfing, I'm just going to show you something here. Because they ended up nerfing certain things in a 3-5-2, in particular the way the fullbacks and left mid and right mids come back, it's the reason why we don't really use it. It's still a very good attacking formation, and I still use the 3-5-2 all the time. But unfortunately, we only have 4 slots. If I had 8 slots, I would love it, because I'd have 1 for ultra pressing, 1 for ultra defensive, then I have 3 different attacking variations, and then maybe 1 defensive formation to close out the game, and then 1 to apply pressure to 4-4-2. But that's why we had to move the 3-5-2 out to bring this formation in. And then ultimately every pro uses this formation, and then the 4-2-4, it's basically a 4-4-2. It's a more aggressive variation. This is the comeback tactic. You can't really use any other comeback tactic. I'll explain to you why. You can't really use a 3-5-2 or a 3-1-4-2. Maybe if you're in Division 7 without painting a negative picture of anyone. If you play this formation in Division 9, even though Division kind of messed up at the moment, you might get away with it. But against a good player, you can't have 3 players at the back, because when you're pressing, it's very easy to expose the spaces on the sides. With a creative run, a player lock on L1 trigger, any top tier player will defeat that. That's why it's better to press in a 4-4-2. And don't forget, the 4-4-2, most of this formation covers most of the pitch, don't forget as well. So this is something you have to bear in mind. It's the best pressing formation inside the game. That is why this formation and this formation, if you realize, they haven't changed. The 4-2-3-1, even though it has not been used that much, it's still used to close out the game. In fact, most pros use this formation to attack and this formation to close out the game. That is it. Simple as that. Now, I do know you can just copy and paste these tactics. There's a video on my channel for everyone on these tactics that goes in detail. This is just an update. It's already 4 minutes in. I don't want to make this a NealGuides documentary. But feel free to copy and paste and check these videos out on my channel. Now, there's been issues with cutbacks. Now, what you can do, there's 2 things. Partial teammate contain is what I'd recommend for those that are Elite Plus level. That means you've got a high skill rating, because this is a very hard button to use. It's all about timing. That's what I'd recommend. For everyone else, the best thing you can do is when the ball's down the wing, when the ball's like, for example, like here, you control a CDM manually. That way your CDM, your centre back stay in position. And then let's say with your left back, I want to put the left back in green here. With your left back, you apply R1, teammate contain. So what you do is you're using the player in red, which in this case will be the CDM. That way you're bringing another player inside the box to stop the cutback. Because the AI has kind of improved a little bit. I don't know how much has improved. I can't really say. I'm still doing testing. I just came back from Dubai as well, like a week ago. And I'm kind of ill, so still playing catch up a little bit. But I've done most games. I don't notice a significant difference. There's a bit of difference there. So what you can do is you can reduce the width. The problem with doing that, this is very important at this stage of the game, is there's too many quick players. There's too many quick players. You know, I got this Athenea, I think her name is. She's an absolutely fantastic. She's basically 100k or how much she is. Evolution, absolute goldmine. So there's so many quick cards that can get the job done now down the wing. So you don't want to be too narrow and you don't want to be too deep. Being too deep is not going to help you with the cut. But people are thinking now, okay, post patch, shall I reduce the depth? That way my defensive line is lower back, will it be better? No, because what the defensive line being deeper does is it creates more space here for your opponent. So I'll be honest, I wouldn't go lower than 39 now. This is the lowest I would go. 39 is the lowest depth I would go, in my opinion. Don't go any lower. Yes, Trivellas have been nerfed, but they can still be scored from a good player's perspective. For those in the elite division, you would know it can still be scored, especially the players have the traits and so on. It's not like it's completely patched. And these are the instructions. Don't forget, this is merely to close out the game. This is if you're under pressure, you got no one to pass the ball to, you're winning, let's say, 1 or 2-0, you're trying to close the game out and there's like 15 minutes left inside the game, you're wasting time, you're doing time management, you're doing everything in your power. That is the way to go. Left back, right back, stay back, overlap. Centre mid, inside the companion app, you can use drop between defenders. Makes it even more defensive. That's why this ends up becoming the best defensive formation inside the game. 4-2-3-1 is the formation you start the game with, okay? This would be the formation. Now, it depends. Sometimes when you go into a game, you will suss a player out. You will know. It depends on your skill level. If I play a player, for example, in Division 4, let's say, obviously there's a chance I'm going to walk all over them. But if you play the same player, you might find that difficult. So you can't always start with a 4-3-2-1. I always say go with a bit of a balanced formation. This 4-2-3-1 is quite attacking. It's conservative. You got stay central, stay forward for both striker and a cam, land round balanced, and both stadiums cut passing lanes. As I said, you can always put one of these players on balanced if you wanted to make it more attacking. Left back, right back on stay back. Okay, so this will be the formation to go inside the game. You got long balls. When you get the ball, players will be making runs in behind, and forward runs is the most attacking tactic, especially works well with a 4-2-3-1. This is what I'll start the game with. Then let's say I'm inside the game, and let's say I find that my opponent is maybe weak in a few areas, I'm holding possession, or they're not pressing me like a top tier player. Then I would progress. People always ask me, when do you change formation? Then I would progress. Because you see, with this formation, only have one striker, it can be hard to score goals. Especially people are being a bit more defensive now because of the cutback and also Trivella. Now people are actually staying a bit deeper. Not a story for another day. Then you go to the 4-3-2-1. That's why I wish there were like 8 slots, because I don't want this to be my ultra attacking and this to be my ultra defensive. But you only have 4 slots. Now, truthfully speaking, any top tier pro player or top tier elite player will pause the game and be like, okay, let's say for example you start the game and you're playing a 4-2-3-1 and you know your opponent is, for example, being a bit more attack heavy against you. I may put both of my CDMs on step after. That's what I always say to you. It's all about adapting your game style and your tactics and your formation. It depends. You know, maybe a pro player can just walk over everyone with just using the 4-3-2-1 the entire time. But can you do the same? That's the question you have to ask yourself. So that's why I would say you have to always adapt. So that's why I'd start with this formation. And let's say, for example, I'm winning 1-0 and I'm using the 4-3-2-1. I might go back to the 4-3-2-1. I might go back to the 4-2-3-1 and try to see the game out. And then once I come towards about 15 minutes, then I go to closing. This is not the formation to start the game with. I have to be, I think people are using this to start the game with. No. Please make sure you listen to the videos as well and instructions. I know these videos are long. I try to do this as quick as possible. Trust me. It's better for me to make an 8-minute video to upload it. I get more money, higher retention that way than keeping it longer. Trust me. 45, 64, balanced direct passing. This is, I said, the amalgamation of the top tier pro players, the Texas, the Anders formation, and combine in mind. We'll go with PH Zin's tactics as well, sometime this week as well. But these are the tactics. This defends in a 4-4-2. I've already gone over this. You can see this on my channel. I'm not going to go over this again. This does defend in a 4-4-2. Now, what you can do, don't forget one of the fullbacks on overlap as well, the right back. That's why I got that player on stay while attacking. Kirio normally stays in the middle, but that Kirio card is absolutely formidable. I normally sub off someone like Zambrotta and I put Valverde there, or I sub off Neymar and I put Kirio on centre back. That Kirio card is very, very good. High agility and balance, and he's got the jockey as well. Very, very good card. This formation here is very, very good for any players. This is probably just because the formation is broken, the way it works is just very, very meta. I've already explained this without making it sound long-winded. you can still score cutbacks. And even if you can't score cutbacks, so go centrally, you want a formation where you got 3 strikers together. If you have a wide formation like a 4-3-3, the problem is with this is like, let's say for example, go ahead to the 4-3-3. The left wing and right wing, they're out of play. They're not in dangerous positions. That is where if you need fullbacks to overlap, that's where your wingers should be more narrow, because if you've got fullbacks overlapping, let them be the wingers. So what you're doing on this formation is essentially saying to your right back, okay, you know what? You be the winger. When you go forward, Athenea is going to be in the middle. And you're having 3 players in the middle. Most people are playing a back line of 2. So at least you got a 3 versus 2, at least if you go up against your opponent's back. The key thing is L1 triggers. This is why a lot of players end up struggling. They don't use L1 triggers. So you want to make a formation something like this to like this. What a cheesy line anyway. I'm keeping that in. Then we go to the 4-2-4. This have just made a constant pressure tactic. I've already explained this why, but just what people forget is the 4-3-2-1, it already defends in a 4-4-2, okay? So let's say, for example, I start the game. Let's say I'm 0-0, but I think I can apply pressure to my opponent. Or let's say I'm 1-0 down. I can literally pause the game, and with 64 depth, I think that's more than enough to apply pressure. But if you want to, you can go to 71 depth territory, and you can apply pressure. That is the way that I'd apply pressure. Because if I change to the 4-4-2-4, which is the 4-4-2, then I lose the 3 strikers up front. So do you see what I'm saying? So sometimes I like to attack in this formation, but I like to defend in a 4-4-2. That is why pros use this to attack in a 4-3-2-1, but as defensive shape, it defends in a 4-4-2. Likewise, let's say I'm losing 2-0. I don't need to go constant pressure, but let's say, because that happens to me sometimes, it's a good example that I thought I'd give might be applicable to some of you guys. Have you ever used the 4-3-2-1, you find yourself inside the game, okay, I like to attack with this, but by the time the team transfer from a 4-3-2-1 to a 4-4-2, it takes too long, my opponent, I can't press them during that period, then what I might do is I might change to a 4-2-4. Instead of constant pressure, I might leave it on balanced, or I might leave it on pressured possession loss. So this can not only be the comeback tactic of all time, I would normally play this on balanced. If you see my older videos, I used to play this on balanced. And then I would apply team press, D-pad tactic, or constant pressure, but I don't need to anymore. And that is why I leave constant pressure on, because most of the time, for my skill level, I find that if someone is holding a ball and I'm struggling really, really bad, I just pause the game and I literally increase the depth to 71 from 64 like I did. These are all the important things you need to know on how to change your gameplay. This is why people struggle. I know realistically no one likes playing the game moment. Neither do I. I have to. I got no choice in my job. I'm sure most people don't like to play the game either. But if you want to improve, it's important to know these things. You know, pros don't just use one tactic in the entire game and that's it. You know, don't forget, when it's a pro versus pro, they have coaches, they have analysts behind them. I know I've done this. You would say I'll put together clips of what an opponent does multiple times inside the game. You might have to adapt. Let's say, for example, I'm up against a pro player and their right back used to go forward the entire time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to keep my right back on stay back. So at least I got defense there. But I put my left back on get forward or balanced. My opponent's got to pause the game and then change it. So their right back maybe is not on get forward all the time. So it's all about adapting it for the opponent you're playing. These are the small things you figure out inside the game. So that is why I start with the 4-2-3-1. Attacking is 4-3-2-1. Closing out the game is 4-3-3. Unless I'm losing 2-0, then I go to the 4-2-4. Anyways, that is the tactics and instructions. Again, you can always pause the video, slow down the video. If people ask me this question, you can always slow the video down if I'm speaking a bit too fast. But I got a video on this for every video of every single tactic on my channel. Don't forget, if you want to get better at FC, come to my Patreon series, patreon.com/NealGuides. Come to my FC24 School Series. Whether you're an elite player or a Division 10 player, we'll get you to elite division. And if you don't get better after 1 month, we'll refund your money. So it costs you nothing. That's a NealGuides money back guarantee. That is how sure of us, should I say, that of you that you will improve. Okay, links down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, and I hope this kind of helps make things a bit more easy to understand compared to my other formation videos. I think I tried to maybe fit everything too much in a short amount of time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.